RushNet and heliosDX have had a lot of development since we last spoke, which I guess was on a month or so ago. So with me is Ashely Sweat, the CEO of both companies, to kind of explain where you've been, what you're looking forward to. So Ashely, welcome again. And I guess update us. Let's start with RushNet. So if you could update us on what's going on with RushNet, kind of give us a real quick synopsis of what the company does too.
Sure. Thanks, Jen. It's great to see you again. And thanks for having us back. So a lot of stuff changed over the last, 2 or 3 weeks since we've spoken about with RushNet. RushNet officially this week has closed on its acquisition, which I alluded to in interview number 1. So RushNet closed on GrandAsia Healthcare, which is the sister company of heliosDX, which was acquired by RushNet last month. Pretty significant acquisition for RushNet. It brings in another entity underneath the umbrella of RushNet. So now you have heliosDX, you have RushNet. GrandAsia itself it's about a year-old company, not quite. This is its inaugural year, I should say. So they've already completed just shy of 1.1 million in annual revenue. We're projecting GrandAsia will do about 1.6, 1.7 this year in its first year.
Yeah. So tell me, how does it fit into the company? And what does GrandAsia do, and how does it move you forward?
Right. Yeah. So GrandAsia is a billing and coding company in the healthcare space. So we can bill for physicians' offices, other laboratories, diagnostic companies, dentist's office. So really anything in the healthcare space from a billing component, GrandAsia can have its hands in. It makes for a significant opportunity. It really spreads their wings a little bit out of just the diagnostic space, which is what their main business today is in laboratory with heliosDX, but they currently bill for a couple other laboratories. But moving forward, GrandAsia becomes the flagship company of RushNet. And the reason being, as we've discussed and we've press released a couple of times, heliosDX is working towards splitting off through out of RushNet, which the RushNet shareholders are going to be given a nice dividend and be able to maintain ownership through shares. So GrandAsia, as we move forward into the future, really becomes the flagship company for RushNet.
Okay, so we'll talk about Helios here in a second, but first, any other plans outside of GrandAsia where you might make another acquisition or another similar type business?
Yeah, so we get asked all the time, what is the future of RushNet outside of GrandAsia? Is it just going to be GrandAsia? Is RushNet going to change its name to GrandAsia? The best way to answer that is RushNet's essentially going to become like a business incubator, if you will. I've been very fortunate to have been surrounded by some really great people that allowed me to bring 2 companies that I own in the private sector to bring them into the public sector, and never could have done it if I didn't have people around me. So, what I want to do with RushNet moving forward as GrandAsia being the flagship company is we are going to go after, and, I'm already talking to 2 or 3 other companies right now for acquisition to bring them in underneath RushNet. Some of those companies will stay in RushNet for the long haul. Some of those companies will follow the same footsteps that heliosDX is doing and will spin off and become their own, publicly traded entity. And the advantage of that is really it's twofold. One, for the business owner itself that has a great product they want to bring to the public sector, but 2, for the RushNet shareholders, they get an opportunity just by being a RushNet shareholder to not only grow with GrandAsia, but to be able to grow with some other entities that may come in and spin out into the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you brought up heliosDX. So, and I understand you're in the process of spinning that off, right? So where does that company stand right now? What's its status?
Yeah. So heliosDX, we are working through the process of doing a split off. Essentially, there's a lot that goes into that. So RushNet, as you know, or I mentioned previously, was a dark shell prior to March when I took it over. So, we've come a long ways in getting it up to pink current, get the financials submitted. Right now the auditors are completing the audits for RushNet over the last couple of years, completing the audits of heliosDX. Once those are done, we can then take the steps to start filing our paperwork with the SEC and really pushing that progress forward on heliosDX. But in the meantime, while we're doing this, we're focused on the core business at Helios, being a diagnostics laboratory in infectious disease, behavioral health, urine toxicology. We're growing that business. We've grown well over 120% the last 2 years. We broke our quarterly record in first quarter. We broke it again in second quarter. We broke a monthly record last month for July. So we're seeing our revenues continue to grow in this business as we push forward with the future of Helios.
And was there a private lab that Helios was in the process of acquiring?
Yes. So, and so here's where we are on that. So, yeah, we are under a binding LOI right now with the target close date of really the end of 3Q, 4Q. And that's still the target. That's still the goal. Looking at things as I see it today, we're really pressed to hit those marks. So, the good thing about this acquisition is it's a friendly acquisition. The owners of that laboratory and myself, we speak daily. They want this to happen as much as we want this to happen. So if we did need to push the acquisition close date back, it's a friendly transaction. We're going to be able to do so. The importance of this acquisition really works well for Helios is, we're going to achieve $6 million in revenue this year, opposed to we did $4.2 million in revenue in 2020. When we close this acquisition, we as a company will be over $16 million in annual revenue with a target, full operational target after 12 months with this acquisition of $25 million. So, the acquisition's on target. It's going to happen. We certainly intend for it to happen. And there's nothing to say it's not going to happen today.
Mm-hmm. Now, you kind of shared this, but are there any other future plans with Helios?
Yeah. So, the heliosDX is, we are under a very aggressive strategy here. We're going to grow organically, and we're doing that through expanding our test options through our current positions, really trying to penetrate our accounts and let those physicians have, not just one test, but maybe they can do 2, 3, or 4 different tests with us. That's one way of growth, and the way we've grown the last, 2 years, and it works, and it works really, 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 really well. But our goal is in 2 years, we want to be a $50 million revenue company. So in order to make that happen, we're going after acquisitions. This private laboratory now in Georgia is the first one. I'm in talks now with 2 others, potentially a third one I'm looking at to acquire. So once the acquisition happens of this first diagnostics company, I can then, the dominoes will hopefully start to fall, and then we bring in acquisition number 2, and we really start to expand Helios's footprint, the revenue footprint, the profitability, and really just our scalability in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got an exciting 6 months to a year ahead of you. You've got a lot of things going on. So that's great. Thank you so much, Ashely. Congratulations. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it.
Thank you.